guys, welcome back to It's All Light. I'm your host, Natalie Baugh, and today's a Chat with Nat episode. And by the time this comes out, it will be December 19th. Oh my goodness. Christmas is just a few days away. I love Christmas. Every year, it's something new and something different, just depending on the chapter of your life. And that's kind of what we'll talk about today. Just some life lessons, as well as some funny relationship stories, as well as just overall relationship life lessons. And I have nice notes out in front of me, so this will be really fun. I'll start off with a funny rejection story. I'm a pretty bold person, if you haven't taken note of that. And sometimes I'm bold and I just ask people out, or I have in the past, and just wanted to share what it's like. So I sometimes am like, want to go on a date with me? Point blank. Sometimes it's over text, sometimes it's over voicemail, which is a story for the end. And the responses vary from, that's really nice of you, but I'm really busy getting things done and ready to do things. It says more specific things than that, but I don't want to give it away. So yeah, really nice of you, but no. And then the other rejection story I'll save for the end. But that kind of takes me into I could go in two directions, but we'll just kind of talk about like life lessons. My producer, George, and I were chatting before, and he was like, the world's bigger than you think. So just like keep that in perspective. He was also laughing. He's like, you only have like 2 rejection stories. And I was like, oh no, there's more. Being bold comes with rejection. And I'm in a sense grateful for it, because then you just don't have to wonder. You just know, and it's straightforward, and they're straightforward. So be bold, say no. It's okay. Which another point to that is the book I'm reading called Marry Him. It's wonderful. Was talking about how guys usually know right off the bat if they're going to be interested or not. Whereas girls, I feel like, take a little bit more time or try to give it a chance. Like, honestly, I once gave a guy 12 dates. 12. And this was in like a period of 2 times of seeing each other, as well as he was so kind and picked me up from the airport, let me stay at his parents' house, drove me 2 hours to meet my family. Like, unreal, so nice. Like, why didn't I just marry him then? I just wasn't feeling it. Sometimes and it's just, but like, I wanted it, but I knew it wasn't right, but I kept going. And you might have found yourself in similar spots. But for guys, like being able to, they already know me and they already know they're not going to be interested, and saying it straight up, great. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to not take personal in my life in a sense, but also how that relates to just other life lessons in general. So like I said, like a bigger perspective, there's a bigger story, and not internalizing things. I think most of life, if we don't internalize it, we're better off that way. Yes, you need to like sit through it and take your time, but also just, I don't know, you got to just keep perspective and keep going, keep moving forward. I took a poll on my Instagram, not a poll, but, not a poll, but a question box of like, I posted the Sound of Music picture when she's singing her favorite thing song. Like, when you're feeling sad, what do you think of? What are your favorite things? And I'm going to share what a few people said. Someone said a motorcycle ride. I think for others that could be a drive or a run or a walk, a run in nature to clear the mind, probably with some sad songs too. Honestly, sometimes you really need to just sit in those sad songs. Sometimes have a good cry, turn on a good movie. Going to the temple and spending quality time with family, also great. And then someone said, Koreans have a saying, time is medicine. Some things just take time. And yeah, those are just some life lessons. But with life lessons come relationships, whether it's with your family, with your friends, with yourself, with God. And that helps you with these life lessons. So what matters most in life and relationships? Your health, your happiness, your family. And in relationships, me and George were talking. I was like, well, there's some fundamentals that everybody has to have a good relationship. He's like, no, I think it can be different for everyone. So for my fundamentals in a good relationship, I think everyone knows communication, right? But when we say that, I think what it means is to really just not be afraid to speak your mind, But at the same time, be silent sometimes. Don't point things out, especially like with your family. Like sometimes it's so easy to just unapologetically and unsolicited say things, but taking the extra step to just ask yourself, is this helpful or hurtful or neutral, you know? And I think just for any relationship that works. And overall, the big question is, how do you enjoy spending time together? I think with your family, because you're also different personalities, or they're your family and you didn't really, in a sense, get to choose them, versus your spouse or romantic relationship that you're choosing to be with. Like, you learn how to make it work. But in a romantic relationship, someone you're choosing to be with, like, I feel like the most important question is, do I enjoy spending time with this person? And if so, why or why not? So, yeah, some of these are a little bit more scattered than I intended, even with my outline. So thank you for bearing with my mind. The other thing was, George was like, you should always talk about, like, can guys and girls be just friends? And just the controversial take. My take is yes, you totally can. I think that doesn't take away from the fact that either the guy or the girl will have some type of interest in the other person, but that doesn't mean they're okay with just being friends. You know, I think sometimes we just accept that and roll with it and are grateful for the friendship, even if it's not going to go in a romantic way. So I totally think you can be friends. I also have noticed in my own life, like, there are different feelings I get with certain friends, though, where it's like, if someone tries to put, like, their hand on my knee or something and I'm not about it, then I will, like, I can know that immediately and, like, move their hand and be like, nope, sorry, not for me. But then there's other people where it's like more friendly. And I think in those cases, there has to be some type of interest in one or the other person, whether that's being acted upon or not. I don't know, kind of funny. It also just feels, as I'm talking about it, feels immature to me. And I'm like, okay, deep breaths, like, why? And yeah, relationships, messy and crazy. And how do we get in a steady, healthy one that wants to make us want to get married? You know, like, it takes so many little pieces coming together. But yeah, what are the fundamentals of a good relationship? And I do think they do differ for different people. I think for me, like I said, just someone you want to spend time with, someone you can talk with, and really talk about anything. I mean, I have best friends in my life, and we could talk on the phone for literally 2 hours and not run out of anything to talk about. And I've lately been focusing on just, like, support groups. A while back, my therapist was talking about, like, my indecision, right? You know, I think this is when I was trying to pick a job between 2 jobs or something. And we were talking about who I go to for their opinions and advice. And she was saying, okay, maybe instead of 10 people, choose 3 that you go to, that you know, you trust. And as I've tried to reflect on that, it's been interesting who I want to turn to for different things, right? And all those people are in different chapters of their lives. And sometimes it is hard when it's like, oh, I don't want to reach out to this person because I know they're busy with this, or I know they're busy with that. And so you switch to another support person. But even then, sometimes none of them seem to fit what you need. And so in those cases where you're just kind of feeling lonely and depressed, like, what do? You know? And for me, I like to have just a go-to list. And I would love for that number 1 to be exercise and go out and run. And some of the time it is, but lately, especially with the winter, oh my goodness, the winter is so depressing. And I've never felt this depression, like, super heavily until, like, this season. Like, maybe because it's not so snowy and Christmassy feel, it's more just like just cold and dark and just depressing. And I'm like, oh, this really is just not fun. But what do you do when you get in those moods? And sometimes it is hard. You can't just go outside and run. You know, it's freezing, snowing, cold, dark. So it's like, for me, it's like, okay, a fun episode of one of my favorite shows, Psych, Friends, Parks and Rec, The Office, Seinfeld, the list goes on. Great British Baking Show. Yeah, I could go on. I love my fun series that I watch. Or taking a bath with, like, some Epsom salt and some bentonite clay. Like, grab a book. Books really can be distracting, but it feels healthier than distracting with, like, a movie. And I say distracting, which I think we do need, but it's also like, don't distract too much because you need to feel it. You can't just push away what you're feeling. Journaling, sometimes you just feel like you don't want to do anything, right? So maybe sit on your bed, put your headphones on, turn on music, and just know you have things to turn to. My producer was saying he goes to comfort foods, and I'm like, yes, a good comfort food is so nice. But also lately I've just been feeling like, why do I want to put crap in my body? And I keep doing that, and I just don't feel good. So I'm like, okay, let's try again. Let's do this. Let's try to eat healthier. And it's so interesting. I feel like I'm generally happy, but like there are definitely moments of like, wow, I could be really depressed. And I think I go through a few of those sad, depressing moments, especially when it's just so dark outside. Again, the winter. But I don't know, perspective. Like I said before, like the story is bigger than I think, and it's not the end of the world. And it also helps to think about others and their problems. Like my dad would always say, like, life could be worse. And he's right, but it's also like, don't discredit your hard things. But I do believe there's healing. Oh, sorry, I said that weird. Healing when you look outward and try to go help other people. George was like, but you can't bring a broken wheelbarrow to a service project. Like it'll just sit there and not help. But I think in some regard, just showing up somewhere, even if you're feeling broken or depressed, can help. And thinking about, I don't know, maybe just go visit a homeless shelter and drop off some notes or talk to someone. I think just talking to a stranger has always helped me. Anyways, this is going to be a pretty quick episode. So there are just a few things I wanted to include, and that is Christmas. So why is Christmas great? I would say it is just because it's full of light and joy and centered on Christ. Whether people center on Christ or not, that's the spirit of Christmas. And believing, right? I'm believing in Santa Claus in whatever way you want to, and sharing gifts, thinking of others, and focusing on light, especially when it's winter and dark and cold. I think the Scandinavian countries and like Russia like find good ways to do this just because it's so dark over there. Like I think someone was in Finland and the sun would come up at like 11 a.m. and go down at like 3 p.m. Like literally hardly any sunlight. There was an article too my mom sent me. I think it was during my mission. It was like a record. Moscow only saw 9 minutes of sunlight in 9 months. Like so depressing, right? I also think another solution to that is a red light. If you guys have access to one or can get one. My work has one, and I am sad I haven't made time to go and use it, just because you stand in front of this red light and it just gives you those warm, happy vibes, and you can just close your eyes and mentally transport somewhere else. I've been trying to get back into meditation. That was my goal for 2023, and I did good for maybe the first 4 months and then kind of dropped the ball, as I do with most my goals. Which is something we can talk about too, for like, how do you set goals for the new year and what does that look like and how do you stick with it? Yeah, sticking with it. That is something I need to talk to my therapist about. My brain has a really hard time doing that. And I was on ADHD medication, but I didn't like it. It made me feel just eh. And I've heard a lot of ADHD medication has that effect. But I just really felt solemn and not myself. So I'm on a journey to find another ADHD medication to help me, as well as I did some blood tests and have some supplements that I need to be taking. And if you want, I can go into that on another episode. And always learning to fill my body with good things and natural and holistic, clean things. And that's really hard to do, and like getting off sugar and stuff. But I think, again, perspective, like in the grand scheme of things, it helps so much. It helps how you feel, helps how you process things, how you work, how your relationships are, right? If you're in a good mood, you're bound to treat others better and with kindness, versus if something triggered you, then you're more easily going to lash out or something. So that's another key to relationships too, is, am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I mad for whatever reason? And check yourself. And then also checking in on others. Huge, huge thing. Checking in on others. I think the more we do this, the better the world is. And I've gone off and on doing this thing where as I'm praying, I say, okay, it's a do now moment. And I'm saying, God, who do I need to reach out to right now? Who do I need to talk to now, or reach out to, text, call? And if it's too late, then I put it on my phone to do the next morning. And usually I just write down whoever's name pops into my head first off the bat and genuinely check in on them. You know, I think sometimes we get texts and it's like, hey, how are you? And it's like, oh, I'm good. You know, and I'm usually one to be like, I'm good. And this, and this, and this, and this. Like, I'm not one to shy away from telling you all about my life, which one day I hope to be a little bit more reserved in that regard, a little bit more mysterious. But I don't know, that usually, like, they're like, oh, okay, she's like really telling me how she feels. And then they give their feedback and their validation and comfort. So think about who you need to check in on. And maybe hopefully as you listen to this episode, you'll be like, oh yeah, I should call this person. I should go stop by their house and drop off a treat or something. Like, there's never any harm in doing that. So I encourage you all to do that and strengthen and build those relationships. And write a list of what works in relationships with your parents, with your siblings, with your cousins, with your friends. Like, who are your support people? Who do you turn to? What makes a good friend? And like, internalize that and really try to show that in your life. And I think that internalizing will help you like take care of yourself and show up for yourself. And then in turn, you'll be able to show up for others and help others. So there's my little soapbox for the day. I kind of want to share a few more things about Christmas just because I love Christmas. And I think Christmas music helps a ton to just put yourself in a good mood and a good feel. And I think thinking about others and what gifts you want to give them, that is something that's been hard. I kind of went on a shopping spree for myself and I'm like, no, I want to shop for others. And what do other people want and need? And I think the best gift givers think about this like 3 months in advance. You know, they're like taking note of those little things that will matter. And sometimes I love just giving the gift of like a massage. If you want, I do give massages. Obviously, I'm no professional, but it's way cheaper because I'm not a professional. Like literally, I'll give you a massage for $10. Mainly females. I don't want to give a guy a massage yet. But I gave this to my friends one Christmas and it's good because then you can catch up as well as like, I've studied some techniques. I also just got a facial the other day and learned some good techniques for the face. And there's like some tutorials on YouTube. So I'll watch those and I will literally give you a face massage. Oh my heavens, a face massage that will help your tissue and anti-aging and stuff like that. So I'm no professional, but it's a gift that I feel like I can give and you have time with that person to talk and catch up. Letters are free as well. Like if you're financially unstable like myself, even though I spent money on myself, I'm working on returning most of those items. You know, sometimes I just get into a shopping spree mode, which is not healthy. Another thing for the new year is finances. If anybody is obsessed with finances and personal finances, let's chat. Let's get you on the podcast. Let's go through the basics. Like, do you need a credit card? Do you need more than one credit card? Why? How do you save money? How do you invest in stocks? Like, this is a fun conversation that I want to tap into because I know nothing. Well, I know a little bit about, but hardly anything at all. So JD, I'm thinking of you because you seem like the best option to help us here because you've helped me in the past. What else with Christmas? I love the Christmas cheesy Hallmark movies, Amazon Prime, Netflix, all of them. Some are way bad, but some are way bad, but yet so good. Like Falling for Christmas with Lindsay Lohan, I loved it. There were definitely cringy moments, but I also cried. Like, it's fun. And then there's like 5 on Amazon Prime. I'll just quickly read those off to you just because I screenshotted them and they're amazing. One's called Something from Tiffany's, Your Christmas or Mine, This is Christmas, and Xmas. So I'll be watching all of those in the next little while if I haven't watched them already by the time this episode comes out. And yeah, go find some gingerbread and eat it, make it, decorate it. And sometimes if you do it by yourself, that's okay too. Like for me, it's like could be a stress relief, getting creative and doing that. Go on walks. It's cold, but just bundle up, and it's refreshing, I think, when we get out of the comfort zone in a minute. Or even if there's snow, go stand in the snow and see how long you can just stand in the snow and overcome that physical discomfort. And like, it's empowering. So with that, I have the last rejection story to end on. So I called this guy, and thank heavens it was a voicemail, because I was just like nervous. And to preface, I kind of knew this was going to be rejected. I just had to try, just to say I did it in a sense for myself. And so I called this guy, and it went to voicemail, and I was like, phew, it's a voicemail. And I was just like, hey, how's it going? Do you want to go on a date with me? Okay, give me a call back. Thanks. Bye. Like, sounded a little bit better than that. And then I got a text back, and I think this was done really well. So if you need help rejecting someone, this was good. And I think because I already knew it was going to go this way, I like felt fine. I was like, yeah, it's fine. I knew this was going to happen. I just had to try. And this person said, hey, sorry, I missed your call. I had XYZ and then went to XYZ after. I just don't want to give details. I listened to your voicemail. I think it would be fun. I do want to be forward with you though, because you're a good friend, period. I'm down to go as friends, comma, but don't think I see it any more than that, period. I hope that's okay, exclamation point. And yeah, I was just like, great, thank you. That was super forward, and I appreciate it. And then I can move on and not have to worry, and just, I'm grateful there's a friend, I guess, right? And that goes back to the point of, can guys and girls be just friends? And in this case, it's like, yeah, but there's probably someone crushing on someone, even if they won't admit it, which is another point. If you guys are crushing on someone, just do that. Just say, hey, do you want to go on a date? And if they respond no, like, I think it is still possible to be friends, but it also is like, are you here to try to make friends, or are you here to try to find a husband? So the more clarity you get, the better. And there was one more thought that I had that I want to end on. Oh, let's see if it comes back. Think. Yeah, I can't remember. Keep trying, keep going, and the forwardness pays off in the end. So be forward if you're being bold. And I had some other like relationship things on my Instagram that I wanted to go through, but I'm going to save that for another time. I just love following relationship people on Instagram, and then I just save them in my collections. And some are TikTok, some are videos or reels, and some are just quotes about healthy relationships. Usually they're geared toward romantic relationships with just some helpful pointers and tips and encouraging advice. So I think coming soon, I might do a little book review with East Winds and the book called Marry Him, and then calling in the one I'm going to try to read a little bit more of, just some fun books that have kept me company lately. And yeah, enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy being with your friends and family. Look up Pinterest to do for Christmas, and maybe try to knock them all off. Like just do it. Just go hard, go crazy, have fun, and keep perspective. And you're not alone when you go through hard, depressing, sad moments. Like, I think more of us go through that than we realize, because no one's posting about that. I mean, some people are, but you don't know everybody's stories or personal struggles, like, unless you're checking in on them, which is the other point. Check in on your friends, stop by, make the time for what's important, have your go-to list, have some hot cocoa. You can make it bone broth hot cocoa too, and it'll be even healthier. And add your collagen. And if you want to chat things healthy, I am learning so much and want to be healthier. And if you have any favorite things lately, please do share. And yeah, keep moving forward. And yeah, good luck, everybody. And Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.